actually occurred with Ghost User over the with 2. He said that, you know, he's tailored preparing these builds for the players. And I feel, you know, GSL is the perfect environment for someone who enjoys that kind of preparation.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing. What he's really going to bring to the table in this best of 3, or best of 5 actually, is what we have coming up, not a best of 3.
Spawning over to our left-hand side here, as our pink Zerg, he goes by the name of Millennium Ghost.
Yeah, and just has that old tag going up there. And don't be fooled by his opponent. Life on the right side. Life on the right side with the Startail tag. He, unlike Parting is actually still in Startail for real. He's sticking around at least a little bit longer. See what happens in the future.
Like in life, he does pretty darn well for himself. But just to, again, go through exactly what has happened to Gosu. But just to, again, go through exactly what has happened to Gosu User during this entire tournament. There was a little bit of controversy as to him beating MVP, but his games looked phenomenal. And you cannot doubt a player that took out MMA in the group stage and cannot doubt a player that took out MMA in the group stage and Genius in the group stage in the same group where both of those players took out Acer Nurture. So Gosu User here is certainly stepping up to the mark for Iron Squid Chapter 2, and you know, but stepping up to the mark for Iron Squid Chapter 2, and you know, but he's going to have a tough mountain to climb in the form of Life.
Yeah, he is, and we have, by the way, Life with an earlier pool coming out, so we'll see how Gosu User can respond.
Yeah, Life was doing this a lot during his series versus Lenocat.
Earlier pool coming out, so we'll see how Gosu User can respond.
Yeah, Life was doing this a lot during his series versus Lenocat. He was going for quite a lot of 10 pulls and just trying to put on the pressure, trying to basically nibble away at his opponent's expansion, trying to force the cancel, and you know, going over there with say 8 to 10 Zerglings, and then trying to combat Gosu User, who will have he knows they're on the way, but because of lava restrictions, he ends up with like 6 to 8 Zerglings by the time his opponent gets over there with 8 to 10. So it's a bit annoying micro against.
Yeah, it's really tough to actually hold your expansion against something like this, especially against someone whose control is as phenomenal as this guy is. And now, of course, moving across, and I'm going to let you take this one away from
his series versus Lenocat. He's going for quite a lot of 10 pulls, trying to put on the pressure, trying to basically nibble away at his opponent's expansion, trying to force the cancel, and you know, going over there with say 8 to 10 Zerglings, and then trying to combat Gosu User, who will have, he knows they're on the way, but because of lava restrictions, he ends up with like 6 to 8 Zerglings by the time his opponent gets over there with 8 to 10. So it's a bit annoying micro again.
Yeah, it's really tough to actually hold your expansion against something like this, especially against someone whose control is as phenomenal as this guy is. And now, of course, moving across, And I'm going to have to let you take this one away, Hilarious. I'm having some problems with my StarCraft client, but I'll be back in just a moment.
Radio, it looks like those drones are being pulled apart. Yes, Ghost User is trying to deal with this as best he can. The automaton in the way. That's certainly the Artosis spot, trying to get into the fray as well. But for now, Starfell Life does have quite a lot of Zerglings here. Ghost User doing a good job of pulling this and trying to defend this expansion. But he is losing quite a bit of mining time during all of this. But at the same time, well, you know, Starfell Life doesn't have that many drones either back home here. They are going to engage, trying to nibble away at those Zerglings. Starfell Life for now gets pushed away. Ghost User with a very, very nice defense.
I'm going to have to let you keep handling this one, Calaris, but I think I'm at a similar time as you in here, so I don't want to say anything incorrect. But, you know, just looking at things right now, I think the game kind of evens up with both players getting those first gases now. A little bit later for Ghost User, but he has a better production, and he's held this without taking much damage.
Yeah, it was a good defense. It was. Technically speaking, because he pulled 6 drones off as opposed to 4. Which would have actually evened up the income. He lost a little bit of mining time, but he now has that lava advantage on that hatchery that was done just a little bit before life. And, you know, with the second queen out way before his opponent as well. So, Ghost User finds himself in a comfortable spot here, getting a few more drones in his opponent as well. And Starfell Life just has to play the little catch-up game with a few drones here and there.
And he's, at this point in time, he will actually have a slightly faster Zergling speed, Life will, and I wonder how that's going to come into play. Of course, both players have to make a bailing nest. At this moment in time, in EVP, even if the map is massive, even if you have a narrow choke point, if the golden rule, I like to say, is if your opponent has 2 hatcheries, you have to have a bailing nest, because otherwise you can't deal with a big sphealing attack that you won't be able to know about until it's too late. And on the other hand, with this really, really fast speed coming off the Life comparatively, he could actually put on some heavy aggression, but he's not going to know necessarily that that opportunity is there. Alright.
Well, I think you might be entirely right there. He's producing 14 Zerglings right now. Meanwhile, Ghost is behind this. He's actually getting a Spine Crawler. Is he going to start walling off the front of his main is a big question, because then the Queens can quite easily choke.